Hi, it's Rachel here again. It's been a wee while since I made my last video, so I thought I'd update you on what's been happening of late in New Zealand. Last time I talked about a few things, and one thing I mentioned was a cult in New Zealand called Gloriavale, and how some of the leavers had taken the leaders of Gloriavale to court, along with various government agencies that had failed them, failed to recognise the abuse that was taking place at Gloriavale. So I think last time I let you know that the three guys that had taken Gloriavale to court actually won their court case. The judge found in their favour that they were actually employees and not volunteers, and deserved to have all the protections and rights that employees in New Zealand have. Anyway, unbeknown to me at the time was that for the last couple of years, a documentary maker had been following the legal battles of one Gloriavale leaver in particular, who was seeking to have the trustees of Gloriavale replaced temporarily with others. I think it's the public trust, who will sort of administer the affairs at Gloriavale until proper solutions are found. Anyway, so there's been this documentary made. It's a 1.5 hour long documentary, and it was finished in time for the film festival. So it's actually been screening in cinemas all around the country. They had several premiere viewings where they actually had the cast and crew members available after the movie for the audience to ask questions, and some of them they've just had the, perhaps a couple of people like the directors of the movie. All very interesting though, to talk to them and find out why they did it, and it's been so amazingly well supported. A lot of the screenings have been just sold out, and I was just overwhelmed by the amount of interest from people in the happenings at Gloriavale. So why am I so interested in Gloriavale? Well, it's a cult on the west coast of New Zealand. It's been around for a few decades. Started out being fairly innocuous, the thought of having a Christian commune type of living where everybody pitched in, and all your money went into the one pot and was divided up between you. But that changed over the years, changed a lot, and it seems to me after watching the movie that the Gloriavale community is very work orientated, very business orientated. They seem to be putting an awful lot of emphasis on working, bringing money in for the community at the expense of their families and their children. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know why they need all this money. They have apparently upwards of 60 million in assets, and they rake in millions every year through their businesses. Plus they get various government tax exemptions. So, there's a lot of money there. I know that they have been or have set up a similar commune over in India. I don't know whether those people are expected to work like they do here in New Zealand. I'm not sure. I really don't know why God needs all this money. But anyway, when you watch the movie, it becomes pretty clear the lifestyle is pretty horrendous there. They really worked like dogs, and as one of the lawyers who was on the movie said, they're packed in like sardines. They don't really have a quality of life at all. So one of the things that Gloriavale shares in common, the Gloriavale leavers share in common with ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, is that they are shunned when they leave and demonised, just like what the governing body leadership of Jehovah's Witnesses does with former members, and also other groups like the Exclusive Brethren, or otherwise I think part of them at least has renamed itself the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church, something like that. It's a bit of a mouthful. But so that's, you know, two big groups in New Zealand, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Brethren, numbering, you know, between 20 and 30,000 people between them that are practicing shunning, in addition to Gloriavale and numerous other smaller churches, which I'm also finding out about, that practice shunning as well. So with Gloriavale being in the limelight as it is, and it's something, it's a group that's always fascinated the New Zealand public, because they wear kind of uniforms, and they always seem to be looking like a happy cooperative bunch. You know, all the media we've seen basically about them in the past has been somewhat of a PR stunt for them, even when their leader went to prison for sexually abusing young women. So it's strange that after he was released from prison, he was allowed to go straight back to the community, where he would be surrounded by children, many of them, or most of them, his own grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So pretty shocking. So anyway, the public in New Zealand are being made aware of some of the abuses that go on within religion. There's this antiquated idea still that religion is good, that it's always benevolent and doesn't set out to harm people, when the reality is that many religions do harm individuals and harm families. So I think this is the elephant in the room, really, this idea that all religion is good and charitable, because even to register as a charity in New Zealand, all a religion needs to do is advance its beliefs, because it's assumed that if it's a religion, then it's going to be good. Of course it's going to be good. But this is an antiquated idea, and we know now that it's just not true. So I think this is something that really needs to be addressed in New Zealand and in other countries as well. Religions should not be based, you know, acceptance of religion as charity shouldn't depend on them using the Bible. They should be judged on their merits. You know, what practices do they have? Are they harming people, and are they potentially violating human rights that are enshrined in our human rights laws? And of course they are violating those. Shunning violates your human right to have a family, to have private life, family life without interference, to adopt beliefs without coercion, or to give up beliefs without coercion. And these religious groups, high control religious groups, violate all these rights. And it's just not fair that people who are violated in this way by a religion do not get the same protections under the law. You know, the law, the human rights law in New Zealand and the Bill of Rights, they are really discriminating against people who have been abused in a religious environment, and I think that needs to change. Anyway, if you ever get a chance to see the movie Gloriavale, I highly recommend it, and after it's done the circuit in New Zealand, I believe it's going to go internationally and will at some point be available online. So please keep an eye out for it. It's very exciting news for anyone in a cult, because it's shining a light on cult behaviours that have hurt us all. So I will stop my rant for now and say bye.